Making some more progress in the van here. Today we're working on the closet. I finished the plumbing for the toilet to get it connected to the outside. There should be a video for that available. The changes we had to do for to hook the sink up. That's all hooked up now. The sink's obviously just temporary in place, but it gives us a chance to test it out. Have the rear slat wall finished, and that closed off the rest of the closet where the toilet is. Now I'm finishing out the poplar on the inside. We're getting ready to hang the closet rod, and we're just measuring out to see where that goes. Let's see what we've got. So here's where we are now. You can see this is the closet here. Sorry about the noise from the air conditioner. Hopefully it's not too bad. But you can see we finished this out in poplar. I also ran the electrical out and hooked up the closet light. It's pretty bright, it works really well. And then I also ran over then off of that another line over here, comes out over there, and that's will be for the lights in the underneath the cabinets, the indirect lighting. So this is a poplar plywood we have down now. I've got to fill all these so they can be sanded out and made smooth, but I'm getting ready to hang the curtain rod here next. I'm starting to work on a little of the plumbing here. Our intention really was to take the shower pan here and drain it straight outside, and the same thing with the sink, which comes out of this cabinet, to drain it straight down through there, join them up at the bottom with a Y or a T, and then take them to the tank. But because of where this is, making one hole in the outside and joining it together up this way, so in other words coming out of here and then into here, I'm going to see if I can put a T on here. So I have to cut out the floor, which I've cut that out here, take this out. Now I have then a piece of aluminum, which we've bonded to the floor here. Question mark is how tough that bond is, how easy that's going to be to get out. I've cut through it. Now we'll see if we can take it out with any ease or not. Got that out. Actually came out better than I thought it would. Luckily there was a little indent on the floor here, right in this area here. And that way the epoxy was only on this part of it. Then I was able to hit it on this end of it down here with a hammer, and it was able to break it free. Now I'm going to be able to put a T on here, going both the shower pan and the sink to the same drain, so there's only one exit leaving the van. Here we go now. So I put a T on there, and that way that T will then be the drain out, and then I'll have to connect this. I think I'm gonna use a flexible tube to come up from here, out that opening there, and then straight up into the cabinet here. I want to be able to put a drawer in here, so we want to use it to the back of the cabinet as far as we can, but obviously because of where the toilet slide goes to, I'm limited on my space in the back, so I think that's going to be my opening to go through right there. Here's the sink now plumbed into the drain. You can see the drain comes out of the shower pan here, hits the T and goes out. Then we also have the other side of the T then going up. I use flexible tubing here. Not my favorite thing, just because sometimes material can get caught in the little corrugated part, but in this case it's really the only way to get that to fit well. It would be very difficult to try to make that fit around that curve up into the cabinet here without using just some sort of flexible tube, and to keep it out of the way of the slider there. And there'll be a drawer on the other side also. So this will work out nicely that way. Now here's under the sink. See the way this works out. Could have used the flexible tube all the way up to the edge of the P-trap here, but I wanted to, again, use as little of that as possible. Also, this then gets it out of the way so we can use this cabinet better. This is the trap that I use. I like it for a couple reasons. If you look right there on this angled piece right here, there's actually a little trap door in there, so it closes, which helps prevent odors from coming back into the van from the tank. And then also this part here comes off, so as you get material washing down, hopefully this will catch the vast majority of it here. Food material, things that you don't want to go into the tank, will catch into here instead, and then you can see if it's clogged or see what you need to do, and go ahead and obviously empty that pretty easily there. So I like that type of trap, especially in a van like this. You can see here how the flexible tube then runs, and it just misses then the drawer slider here underneath, and gives me room then when I mount a slider here for a drawer to go in this space. Slat wall is in now. Since the plumbing was done, we put the little aluminum inserts into the grooves. I think that makes them a little more sturdy. I still need to get a few more to fill up here. I also think it looks better with this filled in than just with the particle board visible. That's done. Working on the partition again here. We're going to get the barn wood and the slat wall built for this section here to cover this. Also on the tracks here, the tops of the partition doors I had mounted only with one bolt here, which I thought with both of them captured, this would not want to turn. It does. So as we get on the road, it wants to turn. They actually turn opposite of each other, so the whole door turns a little bit, which then the problem with them turning like that is they want to get out of these rails here, which I want to keep just to keep them from jiggling around as much. So I'm going to have to remount these, still using one, but just putting a self-tapping screw through one of these to get that to be more solid. That way I can mount that better. Working on that, we're going to get these panels cut first, so that way I can get them in clear coat and drying before it is time to mount them. Putting in the barn wood to cover this part of the stationary panel. You can see they cut out for the actuator and so forth. Cover up the wiring there in the wall. I've also worked on these. So now they slide better. They don't come off the track as easy. Finished product. Also added the USB outlets. Again, they're just temporary until we get the wall in the back, but had to wire those up and got that running on both sides here. I've started working on the ricks in here. Where we're going to put this is back in this area here. This is going to be, this obviously here is the wall where the shower goes. We don't have the wall in yet, but this is where the utilities for the water heater and so forth are going to be mounted here. I'm just kind of putting the pieces in place to see how I can mount that. And again, I'm thinking about leaving the heat exchanger there, so that way we can exhaust both outputs underneath the refrigerator, coming one out right back in here, bringing the other one out into the main cabin through the floor over here somewhere. I'm not sure. I might end up just outletting it here, even though these two are close together, because if I do that, that'll take up space in the storage. Either way. And then the coolant tank, I'm looking at mounting right up in here. Gives me enough room underneath it to get to the plumbing easily and still keep that electrical box open so we can get to the wiring there. I'm going to use some extruded aluminum here, put in some plus nuts across there, and then get something so I can mount that. Once I do that, because I'm not going to hook this up right now, I'm just kind of getting the general layout in there, I'll put in a shelf here so I can start using the rest of the storage here in the way that I want as far as putting things in there that we're going to bring with us. So here's the mount then. The upper part of it, lower part of it. Now these two here, I ended up using holes that were already existing, so I didn't have to then drill or coat. Now these here needed to be new ones, so obviously coat with a PUR15 to keep any rust from deciding to start. Coolant tank mounted. I'm going to put a shelf now. I'm going to put brackets across here, and then I'm going to put a shelf here. I'll put a hole here and there so I can get access to the cap here and everything, but I want this shelf here because then this becomes storage for outdoor things, bigger things, so forth, that we can put here. The picnic table, or the table, the roll-up table, some chairs, the generator, the hitch, you know, all those things, they'll get stored in the back here, tools, etc. I'm going to add some shelves to be able to put that stuff up and down through here. Here's the progress today. We have the framing done. You can see there's going to be two shelves, one here, one here. This is big enough the generator's going to fit up here because that's probably something we'll get out the least. And then depending on what all fits in here, I might end up adding another shelf. I was hoping to fit a chair in here, but it's not quite tall enough with everything together. At an angle it does fit, so we'll just have to see how the chairs fit, our roll-up table, and then the grill we want to get in here somewhere also. So we might end up keeping the chairs underneath this bench because it's long enough to fit that, and the bigger table actually will fit under there. So we might leave those under there and move some of the other things, tools and things that are in here, into this space here. I have to build then the channel for the water to come up for the faucet here, and then continue it on so the shower head can be up here. And then again, this will be a shelf. I'm going to block this off this way and there so nothing can fall in behind the refrigerator. Same thing here, this will get closed off so that way we have storage. I might try to build a little indent into the wall there so that way we can actually make use of this space, but we'll see depending on how it comes together. How we doing, everyone? Working on the van again, although we're sweating in the van again.
No, it's hot.
So you can see we've got the wall here down, and this is why Christine needs to be here more. Okay, I'm working on this. I spent all day fixing this. You can see the parts I made, got it all up, put together. Christine walks into the van. She's in here for 30 seconds and says, "That's not going to work. It's going to hit the bed." I mean, just, it would have been nice halfway through the thing, but, you know, or maybe right at the beginning even, you know. But we've got a plan. We're working on it now, and you'll see the video of us fixing that. So thought I'd, you know, it's the way it goes.
Sorry.
Yeah. Looking on the wall here again. Now, when we built this was needed clearance, obviously, for this to come back down. We measured this out and we built this part of the wall, knowing how thick these would be. We built it to miss just by 1/16 of an inch, not much at all, but because it's a solid, we want to use all the room we could. Now, what's ended up happening is this wood, actually, the barn wood, is not square anymore. It's actually warped and it comes out away from the wood, and you can see it does that here in a number of places. It ends up then coming out away. And so as that happens, like here, this then catches. It just catches barely. So now, unfortunately, you can see this doesn't fit and won't end up working the way we want it to. So I'm going to have to take this back down, and then I'm going to try to plane this side of it to see if I can get this to make it thinner, so that way I can put it back up, hopefully without wrecking the finish on this side. We will see. All right, so I've planed down one piece. You can see the difference in thickness now here. But you can also see now with this one, the bow that it has, how it rises up so badly here. So I took more than I need off, so that way we've got plenty of room. I took almost a 1/4 inch off, which takes away, it's going to cut out this whole back. So it's going to cut out this whole back half of this tongue and groove. This really isn't necessary as far as holding ours together. It's not having any structures decorative. So just cutting it down to here will do just fine. Now let's pull off the tape and see if the finish survived. You can see it came through in a couple places where it was sticking up enough. But it's probably one of the advantages of barnwood. It's already a little rough, so it will hide, hopefully, pretty well. We'll see if the finish stays on now. I've changed things up a little bit to try to see if I can get this to work out. I've planed off one of these, and obviously some of the finish came off. So I now bought the delicate tape. So that way, this is the delicate finish here. Hopefully, it will not take off any of this finish. And we can plane it out without then having to refinish. The other one that I refinished came out pretty good. You can still see the area where the finish came off. It's not quite as dark as the other parts of it, but it is not bad. It is by no means bad enough that we wouldn't use the piece. Again, that's part of the advantage of barnwood, is that because it is so variable in the way that it is, there we go. It is so variable, you know, in the finish that, you know, a little defect doesn't really show up very much. It's cheating as far as finish carpentry goes, in my opinion, but that's okay. I'm doing it that on purpose. All right, so we're going to take this with this delicate finish, and we'll see if it makes it through the planer okay.